this is a new chapter. So everything we know from the past, especially this very weak, pitiful indictment in New York, we talked about a few weeks ago, in addition to the Trump, Russia, Mueller investigation, the Russian bank, the secret meetings, all the stuff that the left, the media, the Democrats, sorry to be redundant, has charged this former president with at one time or another, generally has proven to be false, has proven to be not true. Despite the fact half of America still believes Russia, it just shows you the power of the media these days. This is what some people, including Alan Dershowitz, believe is the most serious chapter, the most serious indictment to potentially come. So the first point is everything that we know, and we know why. I've written 2 books why both party establishments view this guy as an existential threat. He is that, in fact, and he proved it during his 4 years as president of the United States. But this may be the most serious challenge because this is interesting. This is a documents case, which typically under the Presidential Records Act would be a civil matter, not a criminal matter. But again, a prosecutor is hooking a civil matter foundation into a criminal matter.
And using his lawyers as the evidence.
And using his own words, which is really the one point we want to make today, because some people, including us, and you're a former public defender, prosecutor, right, not terribly familiar with the discovery rule that the prosecutor in this case has used in order to, quote unquote, get the president on the record. So we have a special counsel here, as we know, not an independent counsel, special counsel. Generally, the allegations are misappropriation, undue retention of classified documents, obstruction of justice, and espionage, my lord, espionage. The one point we want to make today is with regard to this crime-fraud exception. There's a crime-fraud exception to the attorney-client privilege. We don't want to get into legalese here, but typically, babe, when you were a criminal defense lawyer, when you talked to your client knew what he's
privileged.
Correct.
Privileged communications.
Not
protected.
discoverable.
Not discoverable.
Okay? In this case, there is, and this exception has been around for a long time, a crime-fraud exception. And in order to use this exception, the government must show that the defendant either used the attorney to cover up a crime or is using an attorney's advice in order to conduct a future crime. And so in order to bust into what is a highly confidential area here, attorney-client, a magistrate or a judge has to rule. And in this case, they got a ruling that the recordings made between the president and his attorney were discoverable and they had to be handed over. And in fact, with regard especially to the espionage count here, those statements form really the basis of the indictment. Did I say that correct, Lee?
It still warrants other questions, like why was it recorded? Why were the conversations between the attorney and their client recorded?
Well, that again, we're not going to get into.
And again, we get into that the judge's ruling then allows this to come in as evidence. So there is potentially an appealable ruling.
Yes. That
is already on the record. And for the layperson, it is just more and more and more of a man who loves America, wants America to be great. The current administration, there's been a huge downturn of America. Let's just, I think everybody could at least agree with that. And so to the layperson out there, this is just more of the same.
Well,
the troubling...
let me correct you. For half the country, laypersons, that's the case. For the other half of the country, they're having parties in the street. This is Trump. Right. It's all bad. There's nothing normal.
Yeah, well,
anything goes. Anything goes. We've seen that for the last 6 years.
When anything goes, they can come after you too.